Hello Sagittarius, and welcome to my channel Tarot by Gabrielle. This is going to be a general reading for Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs, looking at your connection to the person that you are dealing with and needing to learn the most from right now. We're looking at all three sides of the connection. We've got your energy toward it, their energy toward it, and the energy in between it. The concept being that there are three sides to every story. So we're looking at your version of the truth, their version of the truth, and this higher level unbiased truth in the middle. This middle section is looking at what is the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. As I do in all of my readings, I've pulled the overall energy and clarified those messages, as well as the overall theme for the reading, which we'll jump into in just a second, but I still have a different tarot deck I'll be pulling from for each side of the connection, as well as the advice deck. It's out of the frame here, but the advice deck that I'll be using to close out the reading in the extended. Any information on the extended reading or on booking a personal reading with me is in the description box below. Last thing, please remember that these are general readings. They are not here to resonate fully for everyone, and they won't resonate fully for everyone. So do please remember to take what does resonate and helps your personal situation and leave what does not. On that note, the whole reading can be reversed. If that is the case for you, that's totally fine and totally normal. Again, take what helps, leave what doesn't. All right, Sagittarius, let's jump on in. I feel like we've got a pretty deep one today, so buckle up. All right, on your side of this connection, you have grief and sadness with the death in reverse. Obviously, this is why I feel like we've got kind of a deep reading today. It's obvious that I'm speaking to a collective who is really going through it when it comes to a certain connection. I have a hair on my face. With this death in reverse, it definitely feels like this is the energy of being stuck in something that needs to end. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean the connection. However, I do feel like there is a cycle here. It's a cycle of ending up here in this grief and sadness. And I feel like the kind of goal of this reading is helping you break out of this experience. So instead of grief and sadness, we can get you to a place of an energy of experiencing abundance and joy and love and all of the good things that I feel like you're missing, especially when it comes to this connection. Now, this person has drama with the Nine of Wands here. So I feel like, especially with this drama card, seeing this mask here, I feel like this person pretended or pretends to be someone that they're not. So they put on this mask, they put on this facade, masquerading kind of comes to mind. I think it's this kind of one of those masks, masquerading as someone that they're not. And so I feel like the person that they presented themselves as was someone that really aligned with what it is that you were looking for, what it is that you desired. But then the person that they showed up as, this grief and sadness, is the loss of who you thought this person was. Now, this Nine of Wands is interesting because it feels like this person is really holding themselves back. Now, I think that a lot of that has to do with, when someone's holding themselves back from love, there's so much that goes into that. But specifically with this energy, I feel like it has a lot to do with this person, not wanting anyone to see underneath the mask, not wanting anyone to see who they really are. Finally got that hair. To see who they really are, or, get too close to them. And so it's almost like they put on this facade to pretend to be someone they're not, but people can only pretend to be someone they're not for so long. Eventually who they really are is going to come out. And I feel like that happened in this connection, and it's, or continues to happen. It's like they pretend to be someone they're not, kind of draw you back in, but then who they really are comes out, and then you get hurt again. And it might be something that repeats, or it has just kind of happened one time here for you. Now, in between this connection, you have mirroring with the High Priestess. So obviously, there is mirroring in this connection. So there could be mirroring insecurities, mirroring childhood wounding, mirroring traumas, fears, whatever the case might be. Now, this High Priestess to me means that this connection has a spiritual purpose in your life. I feel like this specifically, your connection to this person is a very big part of what you're here to learn in this lifetime, which probably means that it's pretty freaking intense, which might be why it's harder for you to break out of the cycle that you're in with them, because it is super intense, which, the overall theme of the reading is free yourself. It says it's time to take back control of your life. So I feel like this reading is a lot of kind of getting you out of the cycle of grief and sadness and loss and hurt and pain and darkness, and kind of getting you into alignment with a little bit more of the abundant, joyful, light energy that you deserve to experience. So let's see. Is the Sagittarius' side of the connection to the person they are dealing with? Sagittarius' side of this connection. I'll do one more. All right. Eight of Cups, Three of Cups in reverse. There's definitely a distance between you and this person. And I feel like ever since this connection fell apart in a way, because like the Three of Cups in reverse kind of feels like the removal of your energy from like energies that you used to be close with. And then you have this Eight of Cups, which to me kind of represents, you know, moving on from something or a journey. And I feel like it feels like you've been kind of on this journey ever since there was, I don't know if like there was necessarily a separation from you and this person physically, like you could still live together, still be in a relationship, but like definitely emotionally, I feel like there's definitely a distance here between you and this person. And I feel like that's where a lot of this grief and sadness is coming from, is because it feels like you maybe felt like you like found where you belong, or like you found your person, or that, you know, you finally, you know, found what was meant for you. But then I feel like who this person really was like kind of came out. And now it's like you've been on this journey. I don't know, this journey of healing, journey of growth, kind of spiritual awakening even, because I do know, you know, I did say that this had like a spiritual purpose for you. Now, this journey has been full of very triggering moments, meaning that it's probably pretty emotional. Like I said, probably really intense. But, you know, I do feel like some of the best things in our life can happen after some of the hardest periods. So if you're going through it right now, you know, try to hold on to that faith a little bit, especially if it comes to your love life. When it comes to your love life, I know, you know, after you're going through something so intense, it can be hard to believe that you're ever going to find the love you want. But you're absolutely deserving of it, and you can have that. All right, Sagittarius' side of this connection. The Judgment in reverse with the Moon. Ooh. There's an illusion that was shattered. The Moon kind of representing illusion, and then the Judgment in reverse is like, you know, rose-colored glasses. I feel like there was an illusion that was shattered here. You saw this connection or this person as something that they're not. And I feel like that has been really difficult for you, because there's probably this part of you that feels like, you know, you were finally like, oh, I found it, or, oh, it's going to work this time, or it's going to be different this time. And then you kind of got that maybe feel like you got that like ripped out from underneath you, or taken that, you know, got that taken away from you. Maybe you felt like the universe kind of dangled what it is that you wanted in front of your eyes, and then was like, haha, never mind. That's not what happened, but I do feel like that might feel like what has happened here, because I do feel like this experience has been really tough, maybe really confusing. You know, maybe there's a lot of like, why did this happen, or why am I going through this, or why can't I move on, or why can't I get out of this, or whatever the case might be. And that's why I do feel like there is a deeper spiritual purpose connected to this, especially seeing this High Priestess with the mirroring card. But I do feel like ultimately what kind of happened here, like I said, like this illusion was shattered. You had a certain idea of who this person was, where this was going, what was going to happen. And I feel like that definitely didn't happen. Because this grief and sadness kind of replaced that energy. All right. Sagittarius' energy toward the person they are dealing with. I feel like, bear with me, because I do feel like there's going to be a positive note to this reading, even if it feels tough right now. All right, Sagittarius' side of the connection. There's the Ten of Cups. Oh. There's the positive note. Devil. Because I really feel like this is the universe saying you can still have what you were looking for in this connection. The person, the person that this person pretended to be, and the expectations that you saw as a result of that, like that exists out there. Like whatever it is that you saw in this person before, like who they really were, who they really are came out, like that exists. So the universe wants you to know that this isn't you not getting what you want. This isn't you not being able to have what it is that you want in love. This is about learning not to look for it in the wrong places. Because with this Devil here, there's very much, or was, this attachment to this person. This attachment to maybe this potential, or the attachment to, this has to be it. It has to be them. If it's not them, it's no one. And, I see that a lot when people label someone as their twin flame, or their soulmate or whatever. It turns into it has to be them, because if it's not them, it'll never be as good as it could be if it weren't them. And I can say from experience that used to be how I thought when I was dealing with someone who I believed was my twin flame, but I couldn't have been more wrong. I mean, that person played a really deep role in my life. I woke up because of that connection. It put me on a spiritual path. I had nothing to do with spirituality or tarot before I met that person. So that the role that person played in my life was very important, but it was never romantic. It was never about that person loving me. It was all the things that I learned because that person didn't love me. And I think that the more that we attach ourselves to like a certain path or a certain idea, or we say like I need things to go this way, or I need this specific outcome, the less we learn what it is that we're needing to learn from the experience. So I feel like this is the universe, like specifically with this message, saying, listen, this isn't about you not being able to have your 10 of cups. This is about you needing to be your 10 of cups first so you can experience it in other people. Because, one of the things that I feel like I've learned, especially through kind of dealing with people who didn't treat me well, or, who would masquerade as someone that they're not, is to spot it from like a mile away. Like I can spot BS from a mile away now. And the reason for that is because I learned the difference between what it felt like to be loved versus what it felt like to be like the difference between kind of like love, or like someone giving you attention, like love versus infatuation kind of. And I think that when we learn that, we can then choose to make the better decisions for ourselves, which isn't easy when someone's pretending to be someone that they're not. But anyway, I feel like I got a little off topic there. All right, this person's energy towards Sagittarius. Drama with the 9 of Wands. So what the heck does Sagittarius need to know about their energy toward them? This person's energy toward Sagittarius. And I stand by it. I do think that this connection has a spiritual purpose. And I feel like the purpose isn't the connection itself, but you freeing yourself from the cycle that this connection has you trapped in. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. Which I'd like to get more on that cycle. I feel like we will. This person. Yeah. Literally, they pretended to be your 10 of cups, and then they like ripped it out from underneath you. They literally pretended. What the heck? Pretended to be your 10 of cups, then ripped it out from underneath you. Why? Like, what did they gain from that? I mean, yeah, self-sabotage, that's obvious. With the 9 of Wands, yeah. King of Pentacles in reverse, Chariot. Okay. I feel like the best way I can describe this is kind of hard to describe, but the best way I can describe this is like this. It's not like this person also desires their 10 of cups, but I feel like they don't feel that who they really are, like underneath that mask, underneath that facade, is good enough or lovable or whatever the case is. So they create this facade to pretend to be someone that they're not in order to have the love that they want and deserve. But then it's almost like who they really are, the version of them that doesn't feel lovable, the version of them that hasn't healed, the version of them that doesn't know how to give and receive love in a healthy way, like that version of them, it was like going to come out. Like there is no world in which we can pretend, or no relationship in which you can pretend to be someone that you're not and like sustain that. Like who you really are, your self-sabotage, like whatever it is eventually going to come out. And when that happened, it's almost like this person couldn't hide themselves anymore. Like you got too close or whatever the case might be. And so then instead of like dealing with the reasons to which they feel they need to put on this facade, they just sabotaged altogether. It was like it's just easier not to deal with it than it is to. So it's not necessarily, I don't feel like this person was vindictive or did any of this on purpose. Like that's not the vibe that I get from this energy. You know, sure, maybe you're dealing with a certain situation where you were dealing with someone, but even like people who are narcissistic, even people who are diagnosed narcissists, like the majority of them aren't like actually really trying to do anything wrong. It's just that they don't know another way of living. They just don't know. Because narcissism isn't actually being like full of oneself. It's actually an absence of a sense of self. So they have to be someone they're not in order for their ego to feel safe. And it's not like their actions and the things that they do can seem very vindictive and wrong. But, and I'm not sitting here like saying, give the if they're a narcissist, like give them the benefit of the doubt. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm trying to explain is that most of the time, the things that people do to us isn't about like them trying to hurt us, but about where they're at in their life and their journey and what they're capable of. Now, that's why, empaths tend to actually fall for people who are a little bit more narcissistic or a little bit more manipulative, is because we do, if you consider yourself an empath, you have a lot of empathy for people, so you can understand why they are the way they are, why they act the way they do. You have that understanding that like, oh, they don't feel lovable, they don't feel deserving of love. I want to help them, I want to fix them, I want to be the one to love them. But then you get into like kind of toxic empathy and how that's self-abandonment and blah, 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 blah. Anyway, what I'm getting at is I feel like, this person pretended to be someone they're not because they felt they had to in order to receive the kind of love they're looking for. But then once that wasn't sustainable anymore, it's like it maybe seemed like things switched really quickly or like overnight or out of the blue, when it basically was like this person couldn't hide who they really are from you anymore. Because again, nobody can do that. But then I feel like, especially if you're caught in like a cycle with this person, it's like they'll do that sabotage, but then they'll come back as that person that that they pretend to be and kind of draw you back in. And the same thing kind of happens over and over again. And at the end of the day, the cycle stems from both of you desiring to love and be loved, which, every human being has an innate desire to be loved and to love and be loved, to be connected, for human connection. And, it's just that our trauma and our insecurities and our fear causes us to sometimes not go about it the same way, which is where you get the chaser-runner dynamic. You have someone who desires to be loved when you're dealing with a runner, so you look for it. You look for it and you chase it, but then you have someone like the runner who desires to be loved but doesn't feel lovable, so you push it away. But the insecurity at the core, the belief at the core is I'm unlovable, I can't have love, I'm not deserving. So that's where the mirroring really comes in. This person's energy towards Sagittarius, we're really breaking this one down for some reason. I feel like we're getting a lot deeper than usual. This person's energy towards Sagittarius. Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. I was like, I literally did this Judgment in reverse card. I was like, I feel like it's going to come out next. And it's like, because you have the Ten of Cups here, and then you have the Judgment in reverse. Like, look at that mirroring right there. I also think that at the same time, with this Judge cat, because there's the Four of Wands, there's the Knight of Swords, this person, kind of has a tendency to not really face their own reality, like of their life, not to look at the things within them that they need to fix and then they need to heal. It's kind of just like going through the motions, flying by the seat of their pants. And I feel like that's where a lot of their running comes from, is like when they feel spooked, since they don't know how to sit there and say, okay, I feel spooked because I don't feel good enough for love, or I feel unlovable. So, I should really address these feelings, get to the root of the issue, figure out what trauma is being addressed so that I don't act from this place and I don't ruin this connection, because I do really care about Sagittarius. Like, they don't have that awareness or capacity or ability to do all that. There's the Devil, which also came out, your energy. So instead, what they do is they say, I feel spooked, I must run. I feel spooked, I must do something about it. And that really comes from a place of insecurity, of not feeling, good enough for what it is that you are here to provide them, not feeling good enough for what it is that they ultimately desire and that you're showing up with, but that they don't know how to accept. And I think that that's where they feel like they have to be someone they're not, even though I feel like you see through it. I feel like you see who they really are and you love them for that anyway. But I feel like that, you can't love someone into loving themselves. This person, I feel like, is struggling with a lot more than you realize on the surface. I'm going to freak out if we see the Ace of or the Eight of Cups. All right, this person's energy towards Sagittarius. I don't know why I felt like I needed to shuffle. It's interesting because I am obviously pulling similar cards, but the energy with the cards is very different. It's like, but I get why it's presenting it like this, because it's definitely very much like a mirroring thing. All right, this person's energy towards Sagittarius. That wasn't supposed to come out. Okay, that one was. Two of Pentacles in reverse, Four of Swords. Interesting. You know what? I'm actually going to clarify this Two of Pentacles, because I feel like there's more to this than what I'm being told through those cards. What do I need to know about this Two of Pentacles in reverse? The Death in reverse. Oh. There's the Death in reverse, right? And then there's the Hermit, and then there's the Three of Swords. So we talked about this cycle and this painful experience that you keep ending up in, which is a direct result of their actions, their priorities, their choices, their decisions. And I feel like, and that's why you end up hurt. So I feel like what this message is really trying to say and tell you is the way, the decisions that they've made and the choices that they made and the actions that they've taken, though not okay, I'm not trying to justify them, that has way more to do with you or with them than it has anything to do with you. So it's not that you're not good enough. It's not that you're not valuable enough. It's not that, there's something wrong with you or that you're unlovable, which I feel like is what this connection has made you feel. But it's that they feel all of those things about themselves, which causes them to act a certain way, which then obviously directly hurts you. But it's not you, which is why I said, I was like, I don't feel like this person is trying to hurt you. I don't feel like they got into this connection just to be like, I'm going to ruin Sagittarius's life. I don't feel a vindictiveness. I don't feel anything like this. I feel like this person has so much going on within them that causes them to behave a certain way. even though the way that they behave goes against what they ultimately want. And that's why but then it makes you feel unlovable, and that's the mirroring insecurities. They feel unlovable, which makes you feel unlovable, and then they feel not good enough, which makes you feel not good enough because they're acting in a certain way to push love away, but then you don't feel good enough because you're chasing it, and it's literally like a perfect recipe for heartbreak is what it comes down to, because of the way that you two are mirroring each other. So there is, and the hard thing about that is like understanding that, yes, obviously this person needs to heal and they need to grow, and they've got a lot. They got a certain place they need to get to in their life before they're going to be capable of loving you in the way that you deserve. But it is not fair for you to wait for someone to get to a point where they are capable of being what it is that you are looking for. And the more that you wait for someone to choose you, to love you, to value you, the more you are actually stuck in a cycle of being treated with a whole lot less than what you deserve. And then when we accept less than what we deserve, we actually are attracting more of that into our life. That's why the universe is saying, you got to free yourself from this. Because the mirror that you see in them, the potential you see in them, the good that you see in them, the love that you feel for them, these are all things, this is all a reflection of you. You see this potential in you. You see this good in you. You have this love for them because you see yourself in them. So this is about your relationship with yourself way more than it is about your relationship with them. It's just that it's manifesting physically in the form of your relationship with them. But it's obvious that there's some pretty deep mirroring. It's obvious that there's a spiritual component to this, which is why I feel like it's a lot more complicated than just like, it's not just black and white, but yet at the same time, I feel like how do I say that? Like, yes, it's complicated, and yes, it's black and white. It's not just black and white, but it also at the same time, like there's a clear path for you that is opening up from this connection, one that is filled with self-love and choosing yourself and forgiving yourself and the compassion towards self, like all of these things that I feel like you've given to this person, love and understanding and compassion and grace. Like I feel like you've handed that all over to them, while in the meantime, you've lacked all of those things for yourself. So I feel like the universe is saying, look, if this person can show up, make these mistakes, be, who they are, and have these flaws and all these things, and you still love them unconditionally, why can't you do those exact same things for yourself? Sure, you make mistakes, you have, flaws, you've done things wrong in the past, but none of that makes you any less lovable or deserving of being treated well. I think a lot of times when we meet people that mirror our wounds, we think, oh, you're broken in the ways that I'm broken. And since I'm broken, that means that I'm only deserving of a limited capacity to love, or a limited amount of love, or bare minimum love, or whatever it is. But first of all, you're not broken, and you don't need to be fixed or healed in order for you to be lovable. The healing is about learning that you've been lovable the whole time. It's not about making yourself more lovable. So I feel like there's so much more to this connection than has anything to do with them, but it's about the deeper healing and the deeper growth that this is pushing you into, that is ultimately going to lead you to better things, right? The universe is saying you can still have your 10 of cups. The 10 of cups you saw in them, the 10 of cups they pretended to be, that exists for you out there, whether or not it is in this person, but you're attached to the idea that it has to be them, which is what has kept you stuck in the loop, which is what you're needing to free yourself from. Okay, Sagittarius, thank you so much as always for your support of my channel. I'm going to hop on over to the extended. We're going to look at the deeper purpose of the connection and the best way for you to move forward in order to align further with your higher self. I obviously hope that this reading helped and resonated with you in a way that you were needing today. And as always, I wish you nothing but love and healing on your journey moving forward. All right, bye, Sagittarius.